Welcome, I'm Pascal Coppens, and over the next 2 weeks I'm going to share lots of little videos about life in China. This is about the new normal, the new recovery after the corona crisis, after the lockdown. What have Chinese experiencing? What are they experiencing now? And how do they look at this new future, this new normal from China? Now, I thought the best way to do this was to invite a very good friend of mine called Temperance. She's Chinese, based in Beijing. She used to be traveling in Europe for the past 2 months, just returned 2 weeks ago. She's of course quarantined in her apartment. It's compulsory. In 2 days she's going to get out, and then she's going to share her stories, experiences from other people, and we'll see how people and Chinese are getting back to normal life again. Now, if you're interested in this topic, do subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned. We're going to give a lot more information, and I hope for everybody in the West, just like me being stuck in Belgium in lockdown, this will give us some energy, some information, some insights, and some hope for how our after Corona or post-Corona could look like. The crisis, once it's over, what will we experience? What have we to look forward towards?
Hi, a warm greeting to you from Beijing, China. Let me introduce myself first. You can call me Temperance. I am a friend of Pascal. We have also worked together for different projects in the past 1 year. So I'm going to use the video to show you how my quarantine life looks like. There is one thing I must do during my quarantine life is to measure my own temperature and report to the local compound committee. The member is usually the party member, but they help to manage the whole compound. In this compound, there are about 7,500 plus residents, and then I will also need to report the temperature in the app. So let's take a look. So I will come to my Wechat and come to this mini program, and here is a house check-in. Then log in, and it's me, Temperance. Log in, it is connected with my phone number. Then this is an interesting part to show, because you can see, as I mentioned from before, I come back on March 13th here. Then I have checked myself every day all along the way till here. So now I'm going to record my temperature from today, 36.4, and then check. So today is done. And also I have to call the local compound committee to tell them, record my number as well. So let's do that.
Now, Temperance talks about Wechat as if we're all supposed to know what Wechat is about. And that is because every Chinese is using Wechat multiple times every single day. It's the super app of China. For those who don't know the functionality, basically imagine all the applications you have on your cell phone today, 50, 100 applications, all embedded in one application called Wechat. That is the power of that one app. Now, the most important part of that over the past 2 months was the health application. And this health application could help you to do self-diagnosis, but also, if you're not sure if you had COVID-19 or not, you could actually go and see a doctor online, get a diagnosis, get a consultation, and maybe he would reference you then to the hospital to see if you really have COVID-19. So all that happened in that same application. But on top of it, it had a lot of information on the virus itself. Where did it spread? How many? What was the environment? I mean, almost every minute there was an update. And that even went as far as explaining you the districts, your compound. Have you been in contact potentially with anybody with COVID-19? And so it was very, very detailed, which means you could decide for yourself, am I at risk? Should I self-quarantine? Yes or no? What should I do? What is the future for me in the next days to come, considering my risk? Now, this raises the big question mark of privacy. In the West, we're asking ourselves, is this okay? I mean, all that health information being in the app of Wechat. Well, reality is that in China, Wechat, or Tencent, which owns Wechat, is actually working closely with the government because they're building the app, but they're actually doing it on behalf of the government. And so the government is making sure that this information, this data is secure, is safe, is basically, there's no consumer breach. You shouldn't be too worried about Tencent doing anything bad or Wechat doing anything bad with that data, because they would lose their licenses instantly. So the big question is, do we trust the government? In the West, not so many people do trust their governments, although we also share a lot of data, like personal data, like travel data, lots of data, identity data, and we do that, but in China it goes a lot further. Health data, which often in the West is with a doctor or a hospital, in China often also can be consulted by the government if needed. But Chinese are not too worried about it, because for them, they see the government, most of the Chinese see it as a government that wants to make sure that there's people, that the population stays healthy, and that is the main idea. In the future, I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of debate, West and East, about privacy and medical data, and China is going to change in that aspect as well. But today, this is the new normal of China, and that is why they feel very comfortable sharing that data on these applications.
Speaking of the quarantine life, the difference here and in Europe is here we are not allowed to go out of the door. Literally, the door of the apartment. I live in a sharing apartment, so I have a flatmate. And how I managed the situation, the day I came back, the member of the community, they helped me to buy some vegetables. Luckily, I am only myself, so it's enough for 1 week. And after 7 days, I ordered something online. They help to just bring all this up to 6th floor, because this is a very old building, so there are no elevators. And it was very heavy. You can see the photos on the screen. So they have really worked very hard. Then also I have a contact. They will check in with me to see if I need some help and if everything is doing all right.
Now, I want to touch for a moment on the last things that Temperance said about the communities in China, because this is very, very well organized. It's these districts, these compounds, government people, medical people, nurses, everybody has its own role to play and knows exactly how to make people feel secure, feel safe, and help them even with groceries or insights or information or whatever you would need in a time of crisis. Now, I think this is part of the social fabric in China that is so strong and very well organized through the governments and all the way down to your district and compound. Now, I've been in quarantine myself for the past 2 weeks in Belgium, and I must say that the solidarity and the help that people are giving and making sure that people are okay and supporting each other is also fantastic. So I don't think this is just a Chinese environment. But what I do believe is that this is also a case outside of crises. We find each other in crises, but Chinese somehow find each other every single day, even outside a crisis. And I think that's one of the strengths of China and its communities. Now, I hope in the next 2 days, Temperance will get out of the door and can experience normal life in Beijing, in China again, and she'll give us a lot of nice videos that we will watch and be able to get inspiration from and see how China is changing after Corona.